What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from the Real Fan Review, coming out of Long Island, New York. With me today, we got my brother B.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing?
We got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah, man, we're doing good. We're back together. Well, for the most part, no Sanj again, you know. He actually talked to him this weekend. He's like, I feel bad. I'm like, dude, you're working, you're school. Don't worry about it. We'll get back to Sundays eventually. Maybe when we see Wakanda Forever, we'll do a Sunday edition.
When football's over.
Well, now that House of the Dragons is over, you know, maybe we have time on Sundays to record again. So we'll see, because that House of the Dragon, I didn't want to miss that, and I wanted to make sure we talk about it, which is probably the first thing we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about House of the Dragon finale. We're going to talk about the 2 trailers that came out this week, which is great that it recorded on a Tuesday, because we got to see the Quantumania Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer that came out. And then we also have the special holiday edition of Guardians of the Galaxy for Christmas, I believe it is. That the trailer came out today as well. So we'll talk about those 2 trailers, and then we'll end the podcast talking about a movie. Can you go figure that? Black Adam. We actually went and saw it. So crazy. So listen, let's get right into it. A lot of new fans on the website, on the YouTube, and downloading the podcast has to be because of what we're going to talk about now, which is House of the Dragon, which has been an amazing HBO series. Jesus, Game of Thrones came back in one of the best ways possible. So let's get right into it, because I feel like this is going to be a pretty long podcast. So let's go right into it. Al, man, what was your thoughts on the finale of the House of the Dragon?
It was, and for me, it was incredible. I mean, it went in. Last episode, we had the Greens, and we had their perspective of the aftermath of Viserys's passing. And then this week we had the Blacks and their processing of the news and how they handled it, and culminating in that final scene. And it was crazy. And it made me think back to how the series started and how we got here in one season of 10 episodes. And it just made me appreciate the series that much more. And actually not understand a lot of the negative feedback I'm hearing online about the show, because this episode was good. I mean, you went from them finding out, you see the tension of them trying to grasp back their power and the strategy of how they're going to do it. You see the infighting between Rhaenyra and Daemon as to how to do it, and culminating in the end and the turn that I think that's going to cause in Rhaenyra going forward. And kid. And this series had it all. I mean, you had some action, and you had the politics of how they were handling it. We find out why Rhaenys, you know, my biggest question was, she could have ended this shit all right there. Why didn't she? And her answer, you know, although short, made sense. And then the evolution of her opinion, because in the beginning of the show, she didn't really care for Rhaenyra, it seemed.
No.
And then to have it end the way it did, with her siding with her in this war, like I said, for a 10-episode show, this show, it felt like I'm in the 4th season. Like, I felt like I processed that much information. So
yeah, and it made you care that much also.
Yeah. Like,
it definitely made you care.
I'm already waiting for season 2.
Oh, dude, you can't.
Especially with that ending.
Oh,
I was talking with B about that last week, and I'm glad, like, we were debating whether that was like going to be how they ended the series. I mean, the season. And like, I don't think they could have ended it any better.
Gotcha, man. And Brandon, I mean, listen, I didn't hear that conversation about you guys, what you thought it was going to end, but without saying what the end was, what did it end the way you thought it would end because of the books?
You know, funny enough, I thought it was going to end this way, but the show took it a bit further than what the book says, and it actually made me a lot happier, because the way the events unfold, it's not alluded to that way in the book. And so, since this is the actual representation or account of this happening, I'm like, oh shit, I love that this happened this way, better than the book. For those who don't know, the book puts itself like a history book. So it's like telling the account of all the events, but it's not a narrative story, essentially. Like this show's very narrative.
Isn't it from the perspective of others?
It's from the perspective of others during that time. It's even from the perspective of some of these characters, but it's in bits and pieces. It's very It's a very history book like. And so the book tells you that this event happens, but it doesn't tell you it happens like this. And so I was like head over heels for when this moment happened, and I was like, they didn't do much this season because shit's gonna go down next season.
Oh man! Feed the hype train. Choo, choo. Let's go.
Dance of Dragons, man.
I absolutely loved this first season of House of the Dragon, and I finally start knowing all these names now: Rhaenys, Rhaenyra, Corlys. Yeah, listen to me.
Oh, wait till next season.
No, don't add more, please. Jesus Christ, Lucerys, all these things, Viserys, Aegon, Aemont. Yeah, I got my little index card over here. So, no, but listen, I absolutely loved this season, and I loved the way that this episode played out. Like Al had just said just now, it was last week we saw what the Greens were doing. This week we see what the Blacks are doing, and it was just incredible to see Rhaenyra, Daemon's take. Immediately, the assumption of they must have killed the king, and it's just like they don't trust anybody. So let's get right into the episode because, again, I loved it. You guys loved it. Let's talk about the episode, and let's talk beat by beat, man. So we get this, Princess Rhaenys gets to Dragonstone to tell Rhaenyra that, first thing she wants to let her know is her dad died or passed away. And once they said that, she was, you could see she was a little hurt there. But then right after it was, and the succession of the king went to Aemond. And she was like, you see Daemon was like, they killed them. Talk about that person that hypes shit up when you don't need them to. That Daemon right there. Daemon hyped that shit up.
No.
Yeah, he's like, they killed them. What are we gonna do about that?
So, when he looks at her and go, they just let you go. Like he even was suspecting her.
Oh, absolutely. He don't give a shit.
Everybody, everyone who showed up, he
looked at her like, so why are you here? And she said, luckily I got out. They did the coronation in front of the mass crowds for, to kind of back up the claim that he is now the king, plain and simple. And you just love the dynamic, man. And Daemon's ready to go to war, man. I thought that was insane and crazy. Al, what was your thoughts on that first meeting with Princess Rhaenys and Rhaenyra there?
I mean, that's how that I appreciated that scene because of the fact that one of the lingering things with me from episode 9 was, you had your dragon, end it. And I like the fact that they showed you right off the bat. She came in. She tells them what happens. They suspect her. They ask her. And even Daemon says, why didn't you just flame them all right there? And she said, this was not my war to declare and not my war to start. And and given the context of the time and the setting that this is in, they're all about that honor and so
respect,
forth. And place, and everybody has their position and plays their role. So I appreciate that they reminded us of that right in the beginning, and then it set the stage for everything that came after. So, and right from that jump, you see Rhaenyra take, I don't want to say exactly the place of her father in terms of being like the laid back and, all right, let's see what's the best way to approach this and so forth. Whereas Daemon, just like always, is like, fuck it, let's go to war. Let's fight.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And it just set the stage for the rest of the episode.
Absolutely, man. And, B, she says to him, like, would you rather cause unbalance in a thing? And he's like, your job as the queen is to challenge rebellion. What's up?
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy, but you also at the same time, you see that princess or queen, whichever one you choose. Let's see what side you're on. Are you on the green side? Then she's a princess. If you're on the black side, she's Queen Rhaenyra. She's also listening to this and she's feeling the pain, and she's also dealing with, looks like, a miscarriage.
Yeah.
So what'd you think, B?
That scene, especially from the book's point of view, it all happens the same way. And so there's a lot happening there because she's at this moment in time, she's dealing with the death of her father. And all of this stuff is happening against his memory. It's like, he had set this in. Everything was fine. We had just made penance like 8 hours prior, and so like this is all coming on me at the same time. And now my husband's getting at me that we have to fight. My people are saying things and I'm just trying to grieve my father because he was all I had left, and so it was a really powerful scene in which, like you said, it was almost as if she was kind of taking the place of her father because she was being indecisive, but she was really dealing with her emotions. And then Daemon, I would say is mostly on the emotion side of thing because, it goes back to the whole, like, fuck my brother, but like, that's my brother, and so they killed my brother. I had suspicions about what they were doing when I smelled that cup, and now all of a sudden he's dead. These people are fucking with us. Like, we got to go take him out. It's it. They called it. They called it when we got there. So now it's time to go. And so like, it's a really powerful scene because all of these emotions are flurrying from all these different people who are technically in charge. And even though Rhaenyra is the queen, you have the king's brother, and you have all of these people who also can exude emotions and have some sort of responsibility or power. And so it's all trying to escape that room, and she's just trying to hold it in. And then she goes through her own miscarriage.
Yeah. And that was visceral. Much.
Ooh, good word. Visceral. I like that.
Oof. Because it was, dude. Because you would think that they were just going to show the blood on her hands, the blood on her dress, the blood everywhere. Nah, man, she fully delivered and palmed that baby out. It's just like, oh my God. And then you see the expression of the maids, and then they show everything. They show the baby, they show the blood everywhere, and it's just like crazy. And at the same time, even before the miscarriage actually goes through, we have Daemon trying to come up with a plan of action with the round table there and everyone talking, and which Eric is it? Is it Eric or Eric?
Eric.
Eric. Okay, Eric. You said the same thing. Eric. Eric with an A. Yeah. So they're all there talking, discussing and everything, and she's there, like, you hear her in the background, and Damon's just like, yeah, so what I had said was concentrate here, guys.
We're
Don't
at
listen
war.
with your
We're
ears.
going to war.
We're doing this shit right now. And then it's her boys, Lucerys, and the older one is
Jaceres.
Just Jason. How about that, Jaceres?
We just call him Jace.
It's like a rapper named Jaceres.
I know when she goes Jaceres, I'm like, lame.
The two boys come in, they see that their mom is going through stuff, and she says something to, the older one, and he goes to Daemon and all of them. He's just like, not while my mom is dealing with this. She said no, and she is the queen. Sure enough, man, shit stops, man. And just craziness there, man. So, I mean, Al, what's your thoughts with Daemon, Rhaenyra?
That scene was kind of crazy. And, you see her delivering a stillborn baby and then dealing with that and having to move on from that. But at the same time, like you said, you have Daemon trying to exert his influence and power over how to react while she's doing that.
Right.
And then you have Eric say, do you want to go handle that? He's like, no.
You don't hear that?
and then even with that scene with him and Jace, even he has to tell the kid, like, in essence, like, let me show you what true loyalty is. And then he takes him outside and he pulls those two Knights Guard out and he says, who's your loyalty with, the king, the queen, or the usurper? And then he brings the dragon out and says, either way, it'll be honorable. Like, oh, kid. He let them know, all right, let me know now.
Dude, crazy, man.
Yeah. And it's just crazy. I mean, as much as I like Damon, and you're like, all right, he's not doing what the queen wants. Like Brandon was saying, that's still his brother that he thinks just got murdered.
Right.
And you can truly understand where he's coming from, saying, no, this is war. It's a mutiny, not a mutiny, but what did he call it? A rebellion. They stole your crown.
They did.
Yeah. And and he's going into action. Like, that's all he knows. Of all the characters, I think he's the only truly battle-tested person left.
Yeah.
Everybody's only spoken about war. He actually fought it in those fights with the Crab Master. So
yeah, and he even said, like, he started counting dragons. He started going upon, and they were like, our dragons have never been to war. He was like, fuck it, I got 15 dragons.
I want to see what he made reference to when they were like, oh, we don't have riders. And he made reference to, we can make, like, in essence, he implied that there were going to be riders for all these dragons. Because I think he counted like 13 dragons that they were going to have.
Fucking 13 dragons. And he was looking at his daughters. He's like, you're going to get up on a dragon tonight.
You got one. You got one. You're going to get on one.
He's like, how old is Aegon? Can he fly?
Crazy, man. And it's just nuts to see that. I think one of the cooler aspects of that whole beginning scene was also with Eric bringing the crown. I thought that was amazing, and to see the crown that her dad wore, Viserys wore, and then for her to put it on was just like, wow, she's now the queen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I guess B, I want to ask you this, because this goes to pretty much the writing and the way that this show has made us feel in these last 10 episodes. I have to say, I think Al was on the same page as me in the beginning, where we were kind of against Rhaenyra's side, because it felt like Alicent was this like innocent person who was made to play the game and all this stuff, man. But now, after 10 episodes, all the dick moves are on her side, right? You got Otto, and then you got the what's the guy's name with the limp?
Alaris.
And Alaris. You got those two cream bastards over there, right? Mm-hmm. Then you got her kids who are assholes and crazy. And then you have the situations that happen throughout these series, like the last 2 episodes, where it's like, dude, they're a really shit family. Like, and where I did not like Rhaenyra because she came off prissy and like did whatever the hell she wanted and just was like taking advantage of situations. But in the end, dude, it's her father who made the call. She's just following it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you also have to realize, like, when Rhaenyra received that responsibility, she was 14, and so you take it from the mind, like, think about Aegon when he showed up, and he was having his good time out the window, like Rhaenyra was the same way when she was his age, and so they tried to have that duplex in saying that when you're young, you don't understand the responsibility. It's a joke, or, until you take it seriously or you understand how to take it seriously. And it wasn't until this moment that Rhaenyra was able to actually take it seriously. Like, it wasn't just a birthright for her or a responsibility given to her by her father, but now it's like, no, this is my role in my position. So you got to see her grow up.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, man. Just, Rhaenyra. And so they finally, after we have the stillborn baby being born, and the issues with Daemon and Rhaenyra trying to figure out how to handle this. They're basically saying to each other, like, she's saying, you rather go to war than protect the kingdom, and he's just like, yeah, a few people could die.
He's like, fuck the kingdom. What has the kingdom done for me?
Right, yeah, and then she's over there. She's trying to play nice, and I believe somebody hands her something from the queen. I guess from not the queen, but Alicent, from when they first were friends. Was like some kind of a paper or some kind of a page from a book.
Otto came to visit.
Yeah, it was during that meeting where they met on the bridge, and Otto gives it to her.
Otto gave it to her.
Yeah, Otto wanted her to swear her allegiance.
Oh God, what a
with some bullshit
Otto.
offering. Like
Some
your kids
bullshit.
can bring, like, hold the king's sword. What?
You could wait, and what wasn't one of them? You could hold the king's cup.
One of them can bring him his cup. Yeah.
So listen, your options are either you die or you can be our bitch.
Yeah,
as her dragons on the other side of the bridge.
Dude, how they did not burn up Otto and that team.
Oh, kid. As soon as he said this shit, that's what I'm saying. Like, as soon as he said your kid can hold his cup, I would have been like Dracarys or whatever.
Dracarys, right now. Dracarys. Just do it. Dracarys.
And it's fun.
Dracarys?
What's funny too, man? Because I wish I would have seen like Daemon and Rhaenyra's kids looking at Daemon when he says, "I would rather my kids die than do that." I wish one of them would have been like, "Really? Can you ask me?"
The cup is made of gold.
Dude, that bridge scene was amazing. It was, again, because it's similar to what was it? It's this season, episode 3, I think it was, where they met on that bridge.
Yeah.
Also to kind of do that same talk kind of thing, which was kind of just amazing. But the balls on Otto to come there,
dude, so calm,
and he did not hold back. He was just like, "Listen, these are the terms that the king is so nice to offer this to you." Like, dude. I wish I was there. I would have been like, "What?" I would have instigated that fight in a heartbeat, dude. Go for it out.
No, I was just gonna say, and it just shows how much that's all he wanted from the beginning, because he keeps laying out all these things that appearance wise gives Aegon validity. And the only one that really made sense or held any significance to the people was that he was male. And he even says that as the reason that he's male. Like, that was one of the reasons of validity, was that he was a male heir.
He was the male heir to the king, yeah.
Because, and this is the thing that I'm surprised nobody brings up except Aegon in that carriage ride, which was for 20 years, the king had the opportunity to say
it.
Aegon is my new heir. I changed my mind. And he never did it in 20 years. Right. Yet everybody is so willing to believe that on one night he said it.
On his deathbed.
On his deathbed with only the queen as the witness. And nobody is questioning it.
Well, I wouldn't say nobody's questioning it, because if you saw the crowd before Princess Rhaenys brought that dragon out and killed everybody, they were like... They were like looking at each other. They're like, "Okay, I guess so. We're not stupid, but sure, you can kill us." Yeah, man, just nuts, man. And I wanted to ask your opinion on this, because I've heard different things on the internet, and I've seen different things being said about this one point where Daemon chokes Rhaenyra, as Rhaenyra is denying the fact to go to war or trying her best to like work this out like peacefully, politically, or in words. Basically, she wants to say, "Let's find out who has our back." And it's just what's your take, Brandon? What was up with Daemon? Why did he choke up Rhaenyra?
I think, to be honest, it's the same thing. It's the same thing that's happened in this whole episode, is just the emotions. And Daemon is somebody who's from episode 1. He doesn't know how to handle his emotions in a positive way. Everything has to be violent with Daemon. When he was with the White Worm, even his interactions with her, when he couldn't complete, he was upset. When his brother said something to him, he was upset. So everything comes out in aggression for Daemon. And so this point in time, Daemon is through every level of feeling he's ever had. And I guess his only way to carry it out is through aggression.
Yeah. How'd you feel about the choking there? I personally was just like, "What the? Come on, man! It's your wife."
It came out of left field. That came out of left field.
Frustrated, yeah, dude.
I think it was the same thing. Like, he lived his life with his brother, showing inaction after inaction, and him being frustrated over it. And
now he's watching his wife,
and then now the wife is doing it too.
Yeah.
And he's not all there in terms of self-control. So I think instinctually he just reacted violently, which tends to be his nature. He wants to fight. And right now she's telling him, no, don't fight. So she becomes the only thing he can fight at that point.
Yeah.
And I think he just lashed out. And, I've heard the same thing that, that's him showing her that, action is the only course of action that they need to take. But I don't take that. I think it was just a gut reaction to being checked. Because again,
shut the fuck up, we're fighting.
The brother did it, checked him all the time, saying, no, we're not going to do what you want to do. And now again, he's being checked and told, no, you want to go to war, but that's not what we're going to do. And I think he just lashed out.
Yeah. Insane, man. Again, it's hard to watch, but at the same time, you're like, damn, this shit is crazy. Another other scene now with this. First of all, if I need a table that looks just like that shit,
that was cool.
Put a little candle underneath, get the orange light, and be like, Uniondale was over here, Hempstead's there. It's just Long Island, all the places I've lived in and hung out around.
Who you setting to be the Lord of Uniondale?
Lord of Uniondale.
Noah, come here. I'm sending
Royalty
you to
King.
be the Lord of Uniondale.
Lord of Uniondale, kid. That's it right there. They put Wheatley Heights and Wyandanch. You know what I'm saying? And Lord of Brentwood. But I need that. I need that table, man, with the lights up in the middle. That should look great. It was amazing, man. But I love the fact that now we're trying to figure out who really is sticking with what the king has said, or are they really easily to go with the new king, Amon, there by force, or because they really didn't care for, like Al had mentioned, is it really because she's a woman that they don't want to follow the queen? They want a king to follow, which is so ridiculous. Excuse me. But I think I think this is where Corliss, thank God we get to see Corliss one more time.
Oh yeah.
He was in there, he survived his fever. Yeah. He probably had another show to do or something, because that was so weird. Like you weren't in 2 episodes, all of a sudden like I'm better now.
I got some new robes.
Bro, you were either filming a movie or a commercial or something, brother. But it was good to see Corliss back, the Sea Snake. I like that name, man. The Sea Snake. And he, at first, when you think about it, they don't know that his son is still alive. So in their opinion, Daemon and Rhaenyra had something to do with their son's death. And yet and still, he still said he's with Rhaenyra, and that his army is with Rhaenyra as well. Brandon, please explain to me what your thoughts are on why Corliss still chose to be with Rhaenyra.
Corliss, to me, it always goes back to me to his speech with Rhaenys. Like, history doesn't remember blood, they remember names, And so at this moment in time, if Rhaenyra possesses the power and she is the leader of the kingdom, King's Landing over Westeros, then Lucerys still becomes the Lord of Driftwood, carries on the Valyrian name, still marries his daughter, his granddaughter, and still continues the Valyrian blood in some way, shape, or form, and continues the name. So that way the old Valyria doesn't get forgotten. So I feel like he had to have the moment where I can side with the new king and get revenge for my son, or I can still be a part of history in some way.
And Al, how about for you, man? I mean, Corliss was just told that, dude, they killed your brother.
Yeah.
And yet he's still there.
He said, "You're a fool."
And I think it was a combination of that and everything and his battles. He actually said, "Let's side with nobody." He was actually going to say, reckless ambition. He said, "Let's side with nobody. Let's sit this one out and not go on either side." And it was Rhaenys that then said, let's, because when he started to badmouth Rhaenyra, that's when he said, she's the only one trying to hold everything together.
Right.
All these men are telling her, let's go to war. and she's saying, no, let's, find this better way of going through this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what made her realize, or at least maybe think, maybe she didn't kill my kid. Maybe what she said is true, that she had no part in it, because she could be given the course of violence and she's choosing not to go the violent way.
Right.
And that won Rhaenys over. And then through that, she got Corlys to go with her decision to back the queen. So, but I think he was done. I think he was going to sit this out and say, nobody gets my navy.
Right. And yeah, you're right. He was at that point, but now we're trying to figure out who is loyal to the named queen, Rhaenyra.
Mm-hmm.
And they bring up a bunch of names we used to hear from the back. The Baratheon. Oh, Rob Baratheon. So we get to see, they're like, so listen, in theory, they're supposed to be on your thing, but are they? And what did Corlys say? It's a fool's errand to say that these people are on your team because of words. You need to know for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the plan was to send the kids to the different locations to find out who's really on our side.
Yeah.
She sends Lucerys to the Baratheons. She sends Jaehaerys
to the Starks, I think.
To the Starks, which is, come on, guys, the Starks are. Come on. And and then I think Damon went somewhere else. I forgot what.
And then she went somewhere.
Oh, she went somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
So we get the three to go their different ways. One goes up, one goes down. And then we get to Lucerys, man. Yeah, it's when it's raining in a scene, you already know it's bad news. So he's flying in the freaking rain and he lands. And I gotta tell y'all, man, I'm sitting there watching it, and as soon as I see the rain pouring, it's just like I'm like, oh, this is not gonna be good. And then he lands his dragon in there, and he's like walking over there, and then they're showing the background of where he lands, right? There's this huge lightning bolt that lights up the sky, and you see fucking Godzilla back there, right? They showed this ridiculously huge thing in the background, and the first thing I said was, oh shit, somebody's there. Now, I did not realize that the dragon was Vhagar. I didn't realize it, because then I would have been like, oh shit, Aemon's there. I just knew somebody was there. I didn't know who was there. And I'm like, this is going to get ugly. Dude, he gets in there, and who's waiting but Aemon? So then I'm like, oh shit. Like, I always heard that Vhagar was huge. I didn't think he was that big, dude.
Yeah.
Holy. Did you guys see the shadow of the lighting in the background of the thing?
Oh yeah.
So let me ask now, because now we can talk about it a little bit, Brandon. So when Lucerys went to the Baratheons, you knew Aemon was going to be there?
Yeah.
You bastard.
I did.
How about you, Al? Al, you knew Aemon was going to be there, or?
Only because I heard a couple of spoilers. I heard about this scene and how it plays out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was completely surprised, man, because again, I didn't know what dragon that he had, and I didn't know the size of this freaking huge dude.
And Vhagar is the second largest dragon. The first largest dragon was Viserys' dragon.
Viserys' dragon, and that's the one that went missing or died.
That's the one that died. The skulls in the Red Keep.
The skulls in the yes.
Oh, so which is Veremore or whatever, the one that...
That's the one that I think that Damon found underneath Dragonstone.
Yeah.
Because I heard he's that's a large dragon.
Yeah, that's a large dragon.
Boy.
Yeah.
But so real quick, before we jump back into Lucerys, how did Damon know that dragon was down there?
Well, they all know it's Dragon Keep, so that's where they're all...
That's where they're all from.
That's where they're all kept there.
Like being held.
That's why he talked about how many eggs they had. Like, he collected the ones in the dragon pit, but there were already dragons in the keep.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. I mean, so let's get to Lucerys' scene here with Baratheons and Aemon there. And, he goes to... Is it also Robert Baratheon that's there, or is there somebody else? Because I think the name was the same for some reason.
I didn't catch the name.
I didn't catch... He's one of the Baratheons, and he's on his throne there in his area. And you see Aemon there, and... I know Lucerys like butt cheek just tightened up real quick. Like, oh, shit.
He was standing there like this, like... Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh man. So he goes to the king of the Baratheons there to kind of say, hey, the true queen and all this. He goes, that's funny because the true king just sent somebody here just now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy. So it's like, he's like, they already made him a deal. What do you come with? And it's basically just saying like, you're on our team, like that's it. And he's just like, yeah, no, I don't like that deal. So then he's like, all right. So then, I come as a messenger because his mom made him swear that they were going to be as messengers, not any kind of war or anything. And here's what, like, also Al had mentioned before, in this time period, this honor system, this respect and thing for words have value, words have meaning. People are going to hold you to those words because he knew that their son came as a messenger only. He refused to allow Aemond and Lucerys to fight. Which was amazing, which was because I was like, oh shit, they're gonna go down right here because Aemon started talking shit. So now here we go. Aemon goes to him. He goes, you know what? I can't let you leave like that. This is so crazy.
What did he say? He called him Prince Strong.
Yeah,
Prince Strong. Yeah. Bastard. AKA. And Aemon's like, you know what? I'll let you leave right after I take one of your eyes. I've been looking for this for a while now, and Lucerys is actually with him, man. He's ready to pull his sword, but he's just like, but again, the Baratheon king there is saying, no, let him leave. He's a messenger. And sure enough, he lets him leave. But it's so funny because he's leaving. It's like he kind of knows something. He's like running to his dragon. And
around.
Let's be real. I think we all felt like this is not going to end like this. This is the season finale. Something crazy is about to happen, right? Oh my goodness, man! So Lucerys gets on his little itty bitty dragon and starts to fly away, and he just feels like something's around him. Dude, when the freaking little lightning flashes and the little things of the clouds go by, dude, this fucking dragon is huge, dude. And you know what? I'll take it away, my man. What happens next? What do you think, and how are you feeling about all this?
I like the way they set it up was ridiculous because, to your point, like even when they showed the dragon like looking like Godzilla in the background, I still didn't have the size comparison. So I thought that was cool when they show Lucerys and his dragon flying, and then you see the other two on top and how much larger the dragon was, and the scene and the way they're flying around and fighting. And I thought, like, I don't know, B, you would be able to tell us the way they have the fight play out is cool because it turns into a fight between the dragons, not the kids. Because you have Lucerys telling his little dragon, when the dragon shoots the fire and hits, what's the dragon's name again? The big one? Vagar. And he hits him. He keeps telling him, no. Like he's trying to tell his little dragon not to. And then when the big dragon fights back, you even see Aemon telling him no. So like you see the two kids not having control of the dragon, and this dance of these two dragons really becomes between the dragons and them doing what they instinctually can do.
Yeah.
And when he came and just chomped him, I was like,
one chomp.
You see wings, tails, and just nothing flapping down to the ground. I'm like, damn,
dude. And it's funny because the King Viserys call it? He said it's a fool to believe that we actually control these dragons.
Illusion, yeah.
It's an illusion that we control these dragons.
Yeah, and then you see Aemon's face. He was like, oh shit.
He's like, nah, it wasn't oh shit. It was like,
yeah.
Didn't want to do all that. I just wanted to die.
Oh man.
And he looked like, oh, we done fucked up again.
Again.
Oh damn. Brandon, tell me, man. You Mr. I read the books. This is so. What was the way that you thought it was going to play out?
I thought that they were going to have a serious battle because in the book, it's stated that Aemon kills Lucerys. He kills him and his dragon. And so that's how it's stated in the books. And so for the scene, just like Alice said, to play out that they didn't have control of their dragons, and the dragons were the one who fought, and this was an accidental death, that completely changes the narrative, because the way this war is supposed to start is based off of what happens here, and this was a death. This was a murder. Aemon murdered Lucerys. And so for the actual event to be an accident blew my mind.
Brandon, there's been way too many accidents that happened in this show.
And that's the funny thing is because when it comes to textbooks, in a textbooks, you get the information that is stated to you in a textbook. You learn about the details of, the stock market crash, World War II, and who invaded who when, but you don't get the nitty gritty. You don't get the conversations people had. You don't get the events that may have actually transpired to have these certain events happen, And so here is this show where you have these series of total human error, and they lead to these huge consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it begs the question, like you said, the book is written from
the
observers.
Perspective of people. Yeah, observers. Yeah.
So, is it an indication that like the writers are taking the liberty to say, okay, this was an accident, but now when they show season 2, the repercussion, does Aemon like take ownership and say, no, I killed him? Like instead of saying it was an accident, like does he own up to it?
I am ready to see how that goes forward.
To everybody's perspective, he did kill him, even though it really was an accident.
So that is a whole thing in the book. And so I am very ready to see how this goes down because the series of events that happen due to this are wild.
Okay, I believe it based on Rhaenyra's look at the end.
Oh, Rhaenyra looked like I'm ready to hunt some freaking.
I'm gonna tell you, it's not even Rhaenyra.
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna spoil it for you. It's not even Rhaenyra.
Whoa! No more time jumps, Brandon.
There may be one, but like a little later.
A little later, okay. This is gonna be crazy, dude.
Yeah,
if this is how you end it.
Okay.
I can only imagine the start of next episode is her with 5-10 dragons coming to the King's Landing.
Because think about it. Daemon, she was holding Daemon back, and he was like that pit bull ready to just bite.
Oh.
And she was holding the leash. And now you just gave her a reason to let go. So.
Not only let go, dude, but like the hurt. And it's so weird. And again, well written. Mm-hmm. Well choreographed, well acted, well everything. Her and him walking away from the table, and she does the little stumble, like I just heard the worst thing I've ever heard in my life, and she just like falls over herself, kind of, and then she turns around to the screen and looks at us like, you motherfuckers know it's on. You guys know already season 2. We'll see you next year. And again, dude, kudos to the writers. Kudos to the actors. Kudos to the showrunners. This series was absolutely amazing, man. This season was absolutely amazing. Al, what was your thoughts overall, man?
Okay, just great show, like you said, great writing, great acting.
Yeah,
and it says a lot because you went from half of the season being one group of actors, and then the second season, half of the season being a total, for the most part, a different set of actors.
Right.
And for you to still feel like it was the same character says a lot to the writers and the directors to keep that consistency going. And keeping us invested in these characters throughout this 10th episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Brandon, your feelings overall, season 1?
I'm happy and I'm crazy excited to see where they go from here.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, man. And listen, Disney Plus, 10 episodes. Look at what they did, bro. You could do it too, Disney Plus, okay, with your MCU shows. Look what they did. 10 episodes, 1 hour a week. Amazing. Come on now.
Yeah.
Oh, come on now. Oof. All right. So listen, I mean, this sucks because again, we've spent the last 10 weeks talking about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. The first few episodes, us messing up the name of House of the Dragon. We were saying House of Dragons, House of the Dragons. And now we finished with the season, and look at us, Lucerys and Jaceres. Look at us.
Look at the growth.
So listen, now we're gonna get back to what we normally do here, which is the movies, and we got a couple movies coming out soon. We had Black Adam just come out last week. I think in the next 2-3 weeks is Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2 for the MCU, and we got a couple other things. So before we get to the Black Adam review, we're going to talk about some trailers that dropped yesterday and today. So yesterday's trailer that dropped, I believe it was the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer. And we also today got the Christmas special for the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer came out. If you guys have not seen it, please go to YouTube, check it out. It's absolutely amazing to see. Now, I will say this. I don't know how many of you guys out there or if you fellas that are on the podcast tonight saw the camera footage of the Disney Plus conference where they showed the trailer for the Ant-Man. This trailer is different than that trailer that they dropped for us here yesterday. The trailer has some things missing that weren't in that trailer for the Disney Plus people. But what was it? D23, I think.
D23, yeah.
Yeah. So D23 had this scene where, Kang goes to Ant-Man. Did I kill you before? Or did I kill
he goes, you're an Avenger. Didn't I kill you before?
Yeah. So that I would have loved to have seen that played out in real crisp 1080p 4K. But listen, even though that trailer was still good, I still love the fact with the Quantumania trailer there, the guy goes, yeah, Spider-Man. I was like, oh shit. Called him Spider-Man. It's funny, some callbacks to the Baskin and Robbins. Ant-Man's first job was working at Baskin and Robbins after he got out of jail from the first movie that he had. And to see the team again, again, you get the Wasp, you get Michelle Pfeiffer, and also the original Ant-Man, Michael Douglas. These actors are all back together again, and it looks like they changed out the daughter. The daughter's not the daughter from Infinity War. It's going to be a new actress, and this actress was the one. She did that movie where the body switched with who's the funny guy who always plays like the same character? He talks fast with Owen Wilson.
Oh, Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn. She had a movie with Vince Vaughn where they switched characters. And it was a good horror movie that she was doing in there.
Yes, okay.
But either way, it's like Freaky Friday or something like that. But, it seems like she's the daughter now that's playing the role of his daughter, of Ant-Man's daughter. And she creates a device that sends a signal to the quantum realm. And you see Michelle Pfeiffer, the original Wasp in the MCU, says to her, shut that shit off. And then we get this whole scene of them going into the quantum zone, a quantum dimension, and we see all these different buildings and things going on. It's just an overall, again, very interesting trailer. Seeing, our guy there playing Kang. Oh, I forgot his name now.
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors playing Kang. It just seemed like very, very good. I mean, Brandon, what was your thoughts on the trailer there for Quantumania?
I thought it was cool, especially like the quantum realm got a new updo, like they remodeled the quantum realm a little bit. And
it didn't look like that in the last 2 episodes. Last two times I saw it.
The first time was like this orange, and then the next time was like a barren wasteland, and now we have this beautiful city in which Kang the Conqueror is now the leader of. And so I'm interested in seeing what was the backstory with Michelle Pfeiffer's character, as well as how Kang fits into the story, and then potentially MODOK. So I'm excited to see MODOK. Where all of this comes from and where it goes, especially given this is Ant-Man's movie and he's up against our Conqueror version of Kang. I'm trivial as to how he deals with this and where this goes from here.
Yeah. How about for you, Al? What'd you think of the trailer for Ant-Man?
I thought it was crazy. Yeah, it just shows a lot. It shows a lot of possibility and potential for the direction of not only this movie, but the whole MCU as a whole. But I'm just curious. One of the things that bothers me is like little plot points that, all right, fix this one little point. And to me, like, I don't understand. If she was trapped in the quantum realm and you see that they're now running experiments and things involving the quantum realm, and you know it's dangerous to go there, wouldn't you have already said, don't send signals, don't do that? Like, I would have thought that this would have already been discussed. Like, there's some bad shit there. This is what I went through when I was down there. This
Why
is
is
what
it a
happened
secret?
to me all those years. Yeah. How they not, like, yo, when people come back from vacation, what's the first thing you ask them? Oh, what'd you do? You didn't ask your mom. You didn't. You don't ask your wife. Yo, you was there for years. What happened?
Right.
Like,
how'd you survive?
Yeah. How do they not know that there's a dangerous threat down there?
Right.
So that's the only part of that bothered me. But once you get past that, like, the visuals look exciting, incredible. The story looks like it's going to be interesting. You have all these great actors. You have this version of Kang that looks like he's not going to take no shit.
Right.
So then like, to the point where he, like you said, he goes, "You're an Avenger. Didn't I kill you already?" So it makes me wonder what's the MacGuffin of this movie, because apparently he needs Ant-Man to steal something.
Right. Yeah.
What could Kang need Ant-Man to steal?
Exactly.
So like that's
manipulator of time guy.
Yeah. So, and maybe that's where Mordok comes into play and so forth. So I'm just curious as to what's going to be the ultimate goal of the movie.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And then we also have, again, the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special that's going to be coming out sometime in December, I believe, which actually looked pretty funny, man. I'm not going to lie. It looks pretty amazing. The fact that they're trying to steal Kevin Bacon. So Kevin Bacon is a character in the MCU, apparently. So,
kid. Yo, Mantis and Drax need their own movie.
Dude. Yeah, they're hilarious. The two of them.
They will bounce. They had to have been on trampolines
or something. They're bouncing around. But it looks like we're going to also get Cosmo in here too. Rocket together. It looks like the whole team except for Gamora, of course. We're still trying to see what's going on with that. But your overall take, Al?
No, it looks hilarious. I mean, right? It's a good setup, as a good fill the space between Guardians 3 and explain maybe, because, who knows how that movie starts. So this can be a good setup for how it starts in terms of where they all are, like in life-wise, so to speak. So it's a good comedic take, a good, story for the holidays. And it just looks like a lot of fun. Like, it doesn't really look like they took it serious to a certain degree.
Right.
And they just said, yo, let's all just have fun with this.
And how about you, B? Thoughts?
It looks like a fun time, especially that it's been put under this new special label of special events. So it looks like it's going to be a short thing, maybe 45 minutes. And that's okay. It doesn't look like it's going to have one explosion in it. But, I'm excited for what it could be. It looks like it's going to be a fun time. And given it's going to be a holiday considered movie, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of Die Hard references in this. And so I'm excited to see if there's a trailer at the end of this for Guardians 3.
Yeah, this should be, right? Because I think Guardians of the Galaxy actually, after Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think the next movie is Guardians of the Galaxy, actually. So that should work into play. And then, of course, in between Guardians of the Galaxy and the Ant-Man, there should be a bunch of Disney Plus shows that hold us over until we get to, I think, if I'm correct, Guardians of the Galaxy comes out in May now, or July.
I think it's in May,
right? So one of the other, the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is going to be coming out at that time. And then really quickly, before we get into the Black Adam review, we'll do a quick review on that one because it really doesn't really link up to the DCEU except for one moment that everyone pretty much knows about. There was news today that Brandon sent to us right before we started the podcast, which was James Gunn is apparently a will be a co-producer,
co-CEO
and a co-CEO of DC Films. And DC Films, DC Animation, and video games, apparently. So, yeah, a huge way to go get that bag, son. You go from directing movies to being a CEO or co-CEO.
Yeah.
splitting the time with someone who does the business side and he'll handle the creative side.
Yeah.
Now, like overall, I think it's a positive move. I think it's a great move for James Gunn. I think it's a great move for DC. If you're going to grab somebody, should try to be like Kevin Feige, have someone who has success with those comic book movies. And listen, not for nothing, even though it didn't get a lot of huge like marketing or a lot of money made from this movie, the Suicide Squad that James Gunn made was absolutely great.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you guys got to watch the HBO Max Peacemaker series, he was in charge of that, which was great also.
Yeah.
So to see him in charge of it, I think creatively it'll be surprising. There'll be a lot of stuff. My only concern is that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 wasn't so really funny, you know, and I know his humor, it tends to be put into the screen. There was things in Peacemaker that were a little bit hilarious, the things that they weren't. So I'm concerned if his style of movie making, I mean, listen, he may be hiring a bunch of directors that he likes and wants to, you know, to make these films, and hopefully they'll have their put in there. I just hope that it's not like more. I'd rather it be more like
not Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, can you imagine? Fucking Thor: Love and Thunder and Thor: Ragnarok, dude. I don't know how. Well, hey, listen, to each his own. Those have not been my favorite movies in the MCU.
Yeah.
But I guess real quick, what's your thoughts, Al, on James Gunn? And I think it's Steven something. He's the other co-CEO on there.
Yeah. I mean, I like the news. I like the potential for where it's going to take the DC EU and the stories. I would prefer that, like, kind of like you said, I'm concerned if he starts directing these movies in addition to just being this main CEO level type position.
Yeah.
If he becomes, just like they said, the face of the creative side, he's more of the liaison with these creatives, with directors and so forth that they bring on. And then they do the movies. That'll be great, because hopefully maybe now that means bigger names, better storylines.
Right.
You know, we've heard that DC is planning. I mean, Warner Brothers is planning to put a lot more focus on DC, making them their own branch of the company and everything.
Yeah, they actually will make them DC films or something like that.
So, I mean, I like that. This to me solidifies that they were real about that this wasn't just press conferences to try to drum up a stock price or anything. They really mean this. So I'm just excited for where it can take everything.
Yeah,
Especially with that after credit scene of Black Adam, and, you know, people coming back to the screen, characters being brought back, and hopefully being given their just due. I'm excited for where the DC storylines can go.
Yeah. And imagine, Brandon, how many people James Gunn has met with Marvel. All those different directors, all those different actors, all those different people that he must know now. He has a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of resources to go to get some help for the DC universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I think I'm not sure how I feel about it, you know, because I like him as the face, but given Warner Brothers and the way they work, it feels like it's going to be a push game where it's just going to be him trying to lead everything and them keep pushing because they need to make money, and they're going to recoup because they've lost so much money that their release schedule is now, 2 movies a year, you know, Warner Brothers, because they've lost so much money. And so I just hope it doesn't sacrifice the potential of these movies by now just saying, oh no, the movies suck. Well, blame James Gunn, because he's the face of DC films, you know? So that's the thing I'm a little weary about. And then the same thing, like Al mentioned, you know, like I want him to be the creative side of DC, but I don't want him to be too involved in the productions of these movies, because once I also like Peacemaker, like you said, I loved Peacemaker, but Peacemakers was like this close for me not liking it, you know? Like it was right there, but I really loved it, but I could have hated it. And so that comes off with his humor. It comes off with the way he does things. But storyline, the guy can write stories. He knows how to take stories and make them work. And so that's the thing that I think DC needs the most, is DC doesn't know how to write stories for some reason. They can take characters, they can take backdrops, they can take CGI. CGI in Black Adam looked pretty good. You know, they did a great job with all of it, but the things that don't come together cohesively is the story. And so I feel like he can bring that to DC, and hopefully that builds up their product again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that'll lead us into our quick review of Black Adam. We're not going to spend a lot of time with Black Adam because we already talked a long time about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon finale, and all these other different things. So overall, man, let's just go into the Black Adam review.
Mhm.
Al, what was your thought? You just saw it recently.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about the Black Adam?
I'm going to preface this with because of the Rotten Tomato score and everything I had been hearing up until then, I went in with very low expectations.
Mm-hmm.
But I was entertained.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a rock movie. You know what to expect. There's going to be a lot of action. There's going to be a lot of one-liners and jokes and so forth. So in that sense, I like the fact that he didn't have over dialogue. Like I felt like they were consistent with his character in the sense that he was not much of a talker. He just did stuff. And, you know, they kept him consistent throughout the movie in that sense. He had a pretty good arc, I felt like, in terms of from the beginning to the end, that was consistent with the character that they were making him be. And it wasn't a great movie. Like I felt like what DC did here is what they've been doing all along. They keep rushing these ensembles when they really should have been doing like what Marvel did. Give one movie here for this character, give another movie there for that character. This way, when you do bring them all together on a screen, we understand the significance of their relationship to one another. Because like I had no idea who Justice Society is or whatever their name was. I don't know the history behind Hawkman with Dr. Fate. Yeah, so when they kept referencing like their history, it had no impact on me because you didn't even do a lot of exposition to explain, or there weren't that many scenes between them to show that bond and so forth. So, you know, and then you throw in the two kids that they're new. Like you didn't even use the opportunity to have them be representative of the audience to explain everything. Like you don't have them asking a question and then
they didn't do anything.
Exposition. Yeah,
they were just there in the background doing crazy shit.
Yeah, so there was so much that they could have explained to have brought us into this, other than just the action. But you know that's what they relied on for a good portion of the movie. So, like I said, I walked away entertained, but not invested. So, like if they never make another Black Adam movie, I wouldn't be at a loss. If they don't do a Justice Society, like instead of now, like you would think that you would have left this movie dying for like some form of either a Hawkman movie or a Justice Society movie or something like that.
Nah,
yeah,
we're good.
The only thing I care about is that after credit scene.
Yeah, man.
And what that means.
Absolutely, man. And like for me, I didn't like the movie a lot. I thought it was okay. I was entertained. I haven't been in the movies in a long time, so to see this movie was crazy. Now, mind you, I saw like 3 movies last week. I saw Lyle Crocodile, unfortunately. I saw Black Adam, and I saw Smile. So it was a great movie week for me because I had a chance to go to the movies and see these movies. But I gotta say, man, with Black Adam, man, I was disappointed because I expected more. For some movie that they were working on for however many years, it was like 8 years.
Yeah,
it's been longer than that.
So if it's been longer than that, that's the best you can do. That is what you rush to make. Like I had such, and this is where I went wrong, Al. I had high expectations. I'm like, damn, they've been making this movie for 8 years. They probably rewrote it and wrote it again and changed it. I feel like whatever script they made back in the day is the same damn script they kept. Where Al kind of liked the fact that he was stoic and didn't speak much. I hated it. I was just like, dude, you're just gonna stand there and just look and make these little comments? Like, dude, you've been like out of the game. You have no questions, bro. Like, I got a few fucking questions. Where did Hawkman come from?
That's such a big gripe.
My dude, he has a solid gold plane.
Yeah, not only that, did you see how big his mansion
is?
His mansion had 14 floors. It was ridiculous. And I'm like, and then Amanda Waller is talking to Hawkman. I'm sorry. I've been watching the DCEU for the last 10 years. where did they come from? Like you don't owe me an explanation, but you owe me an explanation because I don't know how the JSA, the Justice Society, has a team or a group of people that work together that I've never heard of or seen in any DCEU product. You're just gonna throw them out like, yep, they exist. I'm like,
that's insulting to Bruce Wayne. It really is. Because my man got on the computer and he looked up superheroes and found a fast guy in a grocery store and he found a fast guy underwater. And he goes, "That's my team. Those are the superheroes. We're going to change the world." Meanwhile, they were already working.
Right? Dr. Fate and Hawkman had stories, kid. Like,
they've been around for like 20 years. Dude. That means Bruce Wayne is lazy?
Bruce Wayne don't know shit, man. You know, all he had was a picture of an old girl. You know, so like, what happened? You know, and then I get it. You know, you have to sometimes. I think I've been referencing Al all day, man. I miss this guy. Well, you have to shut your brain off sometimes and be like, I just have to accept what they're giving me. Yeah. Apparently, the JSA existed, and that's it. All right, so then you have all this shit happening in this country, and again, it's insane, man. And like, and some of the acting, like that kid. The son? Oh, dude. Oh my God.
The one line that I liked and that they used it to show, I guess, how he wasn't really a villain. Because we remember when Hawkman comes in, he keeps trying to claim Black Adam's the bad guy and so forth.
Right.
And then the main female lead, I forgot her name. I used to watch a show called Person of Interest, and she was in there. So, but her character, when she talks to Hawkman, she goes, "He's not a hero." She goes, "He's defending these people." He goes, "Where?" She goes, "Where were you?" You know, she goes, "You've been defending, what was it, free democracy or whatever. I forgot what he said. They've been defending." Right. She goes, "You've been defending it everywhere else. You haven't been defending it here. He is their champion." So, you know, and I like that because it shows you like the definition of a hero can sometimes be subjective.
Right.
You know, you think somebody's a bad guy, but if he's defending and helping somebody,
he's a good guy to
them,
me.
He's their hero.
Yeah, man. And you know, not for nothing, he did look super cool with the different costumes. He had like 3 different costumes throughout the movie. He was a little overpowered, but But I did appreciate that first scene where he comes out and he takes on all those military guys and just fucks shit up and catches missiles and stuff like that. All awesome and cool. A lot of action. So I listen, I was entertained. I did enjoy being out of the house and seeing the movie because I love movies. Yeah. But again, if like Al just said, if they don't make another Black Adam, I'm okay. You know, because I don't see a reason for a part 2 besides he gets angry and starts shit with Superman. Let's see. Brandon, what'd you think of Black Adam?
Don't rush to see it, you know, like and it's the same thing, you know, for me, there was just a lot of inconsistency in its own storytelling, you know, like essentially if the JSA wasn't in this movie, the only thing that happens that's different is that 2 characters don't make it. And essentially they're not superheroes. They don't have to make it, right? But everything else happens the same way. And then necessarily one character who is a superhero that ends up dying, he actually didn't have to die, you know, because he had a plan the whole time. And he had explained something earlier in the movie about the power he has. And he could have just did exactly what he said earlier in the movie and you would have had him survive. And so like there's just a lot of inconsistency in the storytelling. And it kind of fell flat. So it was entertaining where Black Adam, you know, did cool stuff and there's a lot of fighting, but same thing. Like if there's no second movie, I'm cool.
All right. And Al, even though we all heard The Rock pretty much promote that Superman was in this movie before the movie came out, he was in the end credits, which was again such a disaster of holding a secret from everybody.
Forget it.
Like, why do you tell everybody that shit? That would have been amazing to see. And that probably would have made me like the movie a little bit more. But what was your thoughts seeing our boy Superman Henry
I mean,
Cavill.
it was still satisfying seeing him come out and knowing that's what was going to happen. I mean, I think they even leaked images of him coming through the smoke
Right.
online. But I mean, I still enjoyed it. It would have knocked me on the floor if that didn't come out and you see Superman. So yeah, to all the leaks, I mean, even Dwayne Johnson, I mean, he should have hyped up the movie with something else or just left it like, listen, I'm not going to confirm what anybody's telling you, but you need to come for this after credit scene. Like,
that's
something
it.
Yeah, that's it. Just leave it like that. But you know, I like the little tweaks that the new guys in DC are doing. Like they gave Superman his curl back and the hair. they lightened up the suit a little bit to look more like the old version.
Right.
So I'm excited. I mean, again, like as stupid as that sounds, that they gave him the twirl and the hair again, but it just makes me feel like that. Yeah, they're going back to a lot of the source material. And if you can make it like a little bit, keep that dark edge, and I wonder if that's what they were trying to do with Black Adam. I'm excited. Again, they brought me back in terms of wanting to see that what they do with Superman. Not only is he because he's my favorite comic book character,
right,
but because of the way Henry Cavill played him. I mean, I don't know what people saw in Man of Steel that they keep saying it's a bad movie. I love Man of Steel. I think it's one
a
of
good
the best
movie. I like that one,
comic book movies, let alone Superman movie.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see what they do with Superman now that he's back and now that Cavill is playing him.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, and then he also affirmed in I think his Twitter page that he is back as Superman, and they're looking to make another movie for him. So I'm excited to see that too, man. You know, and Brandon did mention that he said that he wouldn't rush to go see it. Al, what's your rating for Black Adam?
Yeah, I would wait. Unless you're like us and you're diehard, you know, comic book fans, diehard movie fans, where you need that movie experience, that theater experience for movies like this. I would enjoy it at home. You know, I wouldn't force myself to the theater just for the experience, but I would definitely watch it. It's definitely something you have to see, but I don't know if you'd have to see it in a theater unless you were a diehard fan.
Yeah, I wouldn't rush to see it either, man. You should still see it eventually. That's why I'm saying you don't rush to see it. Yeah. But again, I think my expectations, because it's a DCEU movie, it's a comic book movie. I was there for it, and I just wasn't happy with what I saw, man. So listen, that is going to be us for tonight, man. And we want to thank you guys for listening to the longer podcast, where again we're talking about Lord of the Rings. We didn't talk about Lord of the Rings. We talked about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. Maybe I need to watch Lord of the Rings. I keep mentioning it every week.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do. Al says, yes, I do. So we're going to make it a thing to watch Lord of the Rings.
That and Andor.
And Andor as well, because there's not enough time in a day to see all these things. But we'll see what we could do, man. I'm going to see what movies come out this week, and I'm going to put it on the Instagram. Remember, guys, every week on like usually Monday or Tuesday, I put on Instagram the movies that are coming out that Thursday, so that you guys can know exactly what to look forward for that week. But you guys could reach us at therealfanreview@gmail.com. If you have a comment, question, or anything like that, send us an email and we'll read it on the podcast. Or if you're watching on YouTube, put a comment below. Let us know what you thought of the finale of House of the Dragon. Or if you got a chance to watch Black Adam, what did you guys think of it? So again, coming out of Long Island, New York, we are the Real Fan Review. With us today saying goodnight is my man in chair, Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
Myself, Hav, because it looks like B might not be here. So B saying goodnight, but I'm also saying goodnight and saying thank you guys again. Hit the subscribe button, hit the plus symbol on your podcast play apps. That way you can come and get us every week whenever we put a podcast out. And we'll get back to the movies. Wakanda Forever. We're probably going to do a prep for that next week. Next week or the week after. Because I think Wakanda Forever comes out November 11th or 16th, something like that. So we'll see what we get into. But again, we'll see you guys on the next podcast. Until next time.